Don't tell anybody over at Tuscaloosa, but LSU looks ready to defend the SEC West title. Some really good looking stuff in the spring game. We're going to talk about it here on Southeastern 14. Hello, everyone. I'm Blaine Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14, the place where we talk all things SEC football, basketball, and baseball. Excited to be covering these spring games as we head into spring, the conclusion of spring, head into summer here as we get into summer workouts and then get into the fall. LSU came out guns blazing. Yes, they looked – Brian Kelly used the word efficient over and over again, but it wasn't just efficient. They looked dynamic as well. I've said it for a long time. We got a separate video that you can go watch. Make sure to go over to the channel, like, subscribe, all those good things, turn on notifications. But I put out a video a couple months ago, a few weeks ago, something along those lines that said LSU has the best receiving core in the SEC. Maybe the best one in the country overall. It's tremendous. You look at guys like Malik Neighbors, a bona fide, tried and true number one receiver, but Kyron Lacey comes out and he's making Odell Beckham-like catches and then continuing to run with the football in this game. He had 4 catches on 5 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown in this spring game, and they were spreading the ball around. They weren't trying to overload guys. They were trying to limit hits and all that kind of stuff. Brian Thomas, of course, long, rangy receiver that can win 50-50 balls. He looked really good in this game. He's a guy that is a red zone target for LSU. And then you got Landon Ibeata that comes in, and he just absolutely smokes the defense with his quickness, okay? They're able to distribute the ball. Kyle Parker, a freshman, comes in from a true freshman in this early enrollee class, absolutely looks the part catching the football. They have so much depth on this receiving core. Chris Hilton Jr., some inconsistency there. He's going to continue to grow, but he is a tremendous talent. And then some more young guys that have come in. But that wide receiving core is tremendous, and that only helps the two really, really good quarterbacks that LSU has. They have 2 guys that would start in the SEC at a lot of places, Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier. Nussmeier, we know, has a rocket arm. He came in at the second half of that SEC championship last year and lit up a Georgia defense that hadn't been tested as well to that point. And Garrett Nussmeier really, showed that, hey, this Brian Kelly offense can be a high-flying type offense. But I thought the improvement of Jaden Daniels in this spring game, just showing how comfortable he looked, where he was putting the football, how he was in command of the offense. Jaden Daniels, with his legs and what he is able to do, if he's able to stay healthy and they're able to keep him, protected, one thing. And listen, you got 2 freshmen who started last year at tackles. That's always a learning experience, but Will Campbell, tremendously gifted and athletic. Emory Jones Jr. on the other side. These are 2 bookends that are going to be there for at least this year, next year at LSU. So they've got some tremendous continuity coming back on that offensive line. And Jaden Daniels is a guy that, like I said, we know what he can do with his legs. If he takes that next step under Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly in this offense and is able to look as efficient and as in command as he was throwing the football with the weapons that he has, look out, because that LSU offense is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be very, very good. And Jaden Daniels could find himself in New York as a Heisman Trophy finalist this year. No question about it. He's that kind of talented guy. He was that kind of talented guy at Arizona State early in his career, had some confidence issues, had to come in, kind of learn how things are at LSU, but he looks to be leading. He looks to be, his body language is great. I think LSU is poised to have a really big year offensively. The one area that is a question is, okay, who's going to be that guy that really steps up and helps as the running back in this group? Noah Cain is a guy that Brian Kelly mentioned a few times Saturday, and we saw him get some carries. Trey Holly is a freshman that come in that looked really explosive. Of course, they've got other guys that are there on that roster. Emory Jones, they've got Josh Williams, they've got Armani Goodwin. So these are all guys that we didn't see as much of or didn't see at all in the spring game, but they have options. But can somebody step up and kind of be that leader at running back for LSU? That's really the big question there. But I love the offensive line, love the depth that they have there. They've brought in, a couple of transfers. They got some seniors that are in the 2 deep. So they, and then they add guys at playmakers like Aaron Anderson. We didn't even see a whole lot from this spring, and didn't have a catch in this game. So I don't even think he played in this game. So you saw Kyron Lacey, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors do most of the work. Kyle Parker and Landon Ibieta loaded at wide receiver. And this LSU offense is going to be really good. Let's talk about the defense. Listen, they got better on the edge, even though with BJ Ojulari leaving, that was a question. Okay, how do we replace his production? That's what that LSU staff is asking themselves. They've got guys like Ali Gay, who's been around forever, gone. Jacqueline Roy, gone. So they're replacing a lot of experience. They bring in Ovi Oghofu from Texas, number 17. He's set to play that jack position, and he looked really good. Got after people. Jackson Howard, I thought, looked exciting off the edge, did some good things there. The biggest thing for this LSU defense, I think, is going to be up the middle. Of course, they have Omar Spates, who comes in from Oregon State. He looks really good, but Whit Weeks was in the middle of that offense, a true freshman. He had a pick six, and also he's just flying around, getting to the football. Of course, we know what Harold Perkins is, maybe the best player in all of college football. What impressed me was they used him at inside linebacker some, and his ability to undercut blocks, to shoot gaps, to be able to take on and shed blocks and make plays in the run game. We know that they can move him around and have him run the rush to passer at different times. So he's at that same linebacker position. So I thought Harold Perkins looked great as always. But the biggest thing is going to be getting Mason Smith back on the interior of that defensive line this year after suffering ACL injury a year ago in the opening game. Having him back will be humongous. I mean, in different ways. Mason Smith is going to be able to impact the game. The big question is at cornerback. Okay, what do they do at corner? They're replacing Mekhi Garner. They're replacing Jarek Bernard-Converse. Lots of guys that they have to, some holes they had to fill. They brought in Duce Chestnut in the transfer portal, but in this game you saw mostly Denver Harris and Zy Alexander, J.K. Johnson. I think J.K. Johnson and Zy Alexander, there's some growth there. You saw J.K. Johnson get beat, in the red zone period right off the bat there at the beginning by Malik Neighbors. And hey, listen, that's no knock on him because Malik Neighbors, like I said, he is that guy. He's really, really good. But there are questions. Okay, so is it going to be Denver Harris, the transfer from Texas A&M, that steps up and takes the corner spot, maybe opposite of Duce Chestnut, or does Zy Alexander or J.K. Johnson end up getting things done? LaTerrence Welch made a couple of nice plays during this game, had some pass breakups, so he's another name, a guy that's second year in the program that could see some run. At strong safety, Major Burns is there. Of course, they got Sage Ryan at the nickel spot. Greg Brooks is back at free safety, bringing some experience there. He elected to come back, so that was big. They've got Javian Tovanio that comes in as a freshman that it can play any of those, whether it's nickel, he could play a little bit of a strong safety if he needs to. He could also play some corner. I mean, he's a versatile type guy. So there are options back there, but LSU's got to get that secondary solidified. But you talk about the linebacking core, whether you're talking about, Jack linebacker at Ogi Ahofu from Texas coming in, Omar Spates from Oregon State, Whit Weeks adds depth. Wes Weeks, his brother, of course, is there. Greg Penn did some good things in the spring game. And then Harold Perkins is a bona fide superstar. So I think that up front, the guys of Mekhi Wingo, Mason Smith, Savion Jones, these are guys that are going to be really good. Of course, they got Quincy Wiggins that's going to try to take that next step, a redshirt freshman in there. So this LSU defense, I think, will be better than it was a year ago, at least on the first two levels. There's some questions on the back end, that third level of the defense. So we'll see how the secondary kind of goes as things go throughout the summer here and head into the fall. But you're talking about an LSU offense that it may not matter what their defense looks like, because they are going to be able to score a lot of points and score points at will, especially if Jaden Daniels is playing as decisively and clear-minded as he looked like he was playing in this spring game. And listen, I know it's a spring game. I know things are vanilla, and I know I just kind of denigrated the defensive back group for LSU a little bit. So yes, there are some things playing in his favor, but he didn't have, Mason Taylor and Mac Markway playing in this game at tight end. There's just weapons upon weapons at LSU. And I think Jaden Daniels has shown that growth, and that's going to translate into games this fall. It's going to have to translate right off the bat, because Florida State's going to be really good this year. They're going to go to Orlando to play that first game. Guys, we would love to hear your comments, but I think LSU did absolutely nothing to, dissuade me from thinking that they're going to do anything but repeat as SEC West champions and have a rematch with Georgia in the SEC championship this upcoming year. I think when you compare them head to head with Alabama, I trust LSU's quarterbacks more. I trust their wide receiver core more. I trust their offensive line more. Now the question is, will the secondary be able to hold up against Alabama's receivers? But Alabama has some questions in their own passing game. Neither quarterback was very efficient, whether it was Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe in the spring game. They're getting used to Tommy Rees. You got, year two with Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly and all these guys here at LSU. So some more continuity. They're in the kind of groove of things here, whereas Nick Saban is kind of back to the drawing board, bringing in Tommy Rees, bringing in Kevin Steele, some changes over there. I like where LSU as a program is ahead of Alabama right now. Leave your comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out all of Chris Lee and Blake Lovell's stuff over there on Southeastern 14, the channel for baseball and basketball. Baseball's in full swing. Of course, basketball recruiting doesn't stop. And then, of course, we never stop covering football year-round. So for Southeastern 14, I am Blaine Gilmer, and we'll catch you guys next time.